How do you find the community service opportunity that's right for you? And what can volunteering teach you about leadership, compassion, and even your future career? All that and more coming up next. Hey, Honors Bulls, welcome back to the Honor Roll Podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I am your host, Fabiana Requena, a fourth-year student studying marketing and business analytics and a proud member of the Honors College. My co-host today is Reva Gandhi, also a fourth-year student studying biomedical sciences and public health with a minor in nutrition. It's great to have you back on the podcast, Reva.
It's so good to be here. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Monday, starting off to a great start here.
Hey, that's so great to hear.
As always, Reva, we like to start off the podcast with one big question. So my question this week is a little bit fun and a little bit different, but what is your favorite dog breed?
That is a really hard question because dogs are adorable. I think I'm biased because I have a mini Australian Labradoodle
Oh
at
my
home,
God.
and he is the cutest and most rambunctious thing to ever exist. But he's so cute and so cuddly. How about you?
I personally never had a dog, but I would like to sometime in the future, and I would really like a long-haired dachshund.
Oh my goodness, those are so cute.
Yeah, the ones with like the long fur and like spotted. I think I would really want one of those. I know they're like small, but
You know what? If you get one, invite me over and I'll babysit it all
okay,
the time.
sounds good. Well, this week, Reva, we're excited to launch a new podcast mini series called Voices of Service, where we highlight Tampa Bay organizations that both honors and prospective students can get involved with. After the break, we'll kick things off with Alexa Michael, who is an honor student and is also joining the podcast to discuss how volunteering with local organizations can make real impact and feel like something that's more than just fulfilling a requirement. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Hargrove, and I lead the Sustainable Futures Commitment here at the Honors College. So some advice that I have for freshmen is to stay curious. Take every opportunity that you can to explore and do all the fun things that college has to offer. It's not just work. There are so many interesting and amazing things happening here, and you never know what you'll uncover. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's get back to the episode.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today, Alexa. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Alexa Michael. I'm a freshman year biology student, and in my spare time, I volunteer with Dogs Inc.
Well, we're so excited to have you here, and we're so excited to learn more about the organizations you're a part of. But before we do that, we want to backtrack just a little bit and talk about how you got to USF. So you recently graduated high school. So what drew you to coming to USF and the Honors College?
I think for USF, it was I'm very local to Tampa, so seeing the growth it's had in just a few short years makes me so excited for what's going to happen when I'm here. And then the Honors College specifically gave me an outlet where it was like small size is in the classes and being able to be with peers that think like me and kind of like gaining friendships from a big university and then coming to a little small college. So it was very nice.
Yeah, you definitely have the opportunity to make a lot of strong connections here. And since class sizes are smaller, you have the opportunity to like bond with your professors a lot more and have a great time. So we're excited to have you here. Obviously, one of the big parts of the honors experience here, we hold service and community really highly. We love students that are like engaged in their community. Were you always volunteering, or was that something that started when you became an honors student?
I think I was always volunteering. I mean, in high school in Florida, we used to have to do 100 hours to get your Bright Futures. So it was kind of always like, oh, I have to volunteer, I have to volunteer. But once I got to the Honors College, I kind of realized I don't have to volunteer. I like to volunteer. And that's what kind of made the difference for me. And I swapped from doing like little projects and like, oh, just collecting hours to becoming a big part of Dogs Inc., I think, and puppy raising and truly focusing on Dogs Inc.
Yeah, I think that resonates really well because you're expected to do something and then in college you have a little bit more liberty in what you get to dedicate your time to. So I think it's really special that you're choosing to dedicate so much time to volunteering and really giving back to the community. So you've mentioned Dogs Inc. a couple of times. What really sparked your interest or your passion in wanting to volunteer with them?
I think what drew me to Dogs Inc. was their cause. They are providing service dogs, guide dogs to people who are in need completely free. They're the only company in North America that does that. And so being able to be a part of that and being able to volunteer with that and just getting to see people's lives change in front of you for the better, and they always change for the better. There's never a bad in it. So I think that's what like Dogs Inc. was like, always happy. Everyone there was always there for a common cause, and that was to truly help people in need.
So you've talked about Dogs Inc. a few times. For those who aren't really familiar with the organization, would you mind sharing a little bit about what Dogs Inc. dedicates itself towards?
Yeah, so Dogs Inc. raises dogs for people who are blind, who need services like Gold Star families, therapy dogs, and newly they're going to be doing diabetes detection dogs. And so they take puppies, they breed them. They have an entire way they breed. They are perfectly bred dogs, and they put them through called kindergarten, where they gain their vest, and then they get sent off to puppy raisers like me, and we take them for either 3, 6, or 12 months, and you build their skills. You teach them how to go into stores. You bring them everywhere with you. In the state of Florida, under a statute, guide dogs who are in training have the same rights as a service animal. So you get to do everything under the sun to expose them. And then they return for college and they pick their career and they are matched with their person and they spend the rest of their life, their working life with that person.
That's so cool. I think it's so nice that, you're able to raise a dog, which is something everybody enjoys, and then, give it back and have them dedicate their life to service. It feels like a very full circle
Yes.
moment. So how long have you been doing it and how many puppies have you raised?
So I've been in it for about a year now. I raised one dog, Birdie, and now we're just active sitters just because the transition from I was fully at home to now I'm in college, and a dorm is not exactly an acceptable place for them. So I actively help sit, and I'm excited when I go back home for summer that I'm going to sit all the dogs I can.
So, like you said, now that you're in a dorm, you're here in college, you don't have that kind of space to be able to raise a puppy necessarily. But I'm sure that there are other ways that you can still be active in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about what you hope to do now as a college student?
Yeah, I hope to get involved with like the USF initiatives. Dogs Inc. will always be an important part of my life, but also understanding that, getting involved with Moffitt, getting involved with all the local hospitals, I think that's going to help me with my future career goals. But also still volunteering with Dogs Inc., going down to their campus in Sarasota. So I'm definitely excited.
I'm sure that you can like go in person, right? And then
Yes,
still
yes, you
help out
can.
there.
Yeah, they have a beautiful campus down in Sarasota. It's about an hour from here, and that's where the puppies are born. That's where the people come to do their training, and so they are always looking for volunteers to run the campus. They run solely off volunteers.
I think it's cool that you're able to go back to Sarasota and still be involved. You did mention earlier a little bit about the careers a puppy can choose after graduating or after you finish training them. So what are the different careers?
Guide dogs provide blind people with the light, they say. Basically, allow them to live a life that they could never have lived without the dog, and provides them basically with their eyes. Service dogs are given to Gold Star families, people who are needing a service. They're specifically trained for them. And then there's companion dogs, which are kind of like a therapy dog, but on a higher level. They have more rights in places, and um, they're starting a new dog for diabetes to detect diabetes. That's a brand new thing. They're actively looking for people with diabetes to help them train these dogs as well.
So I'm curious to know what your experience was like raising the dog that you did. What were some of the challenges? What were some of the most rewarding parts of
Mhm.
being able to host this service puppy?
Yeah, so I like to say the days were long, but the weeks were short because you get up very early with them. I mean, all depends on your dog. The dog meets to your schedule, but I was a high school student, so obviously I was out the door earlier. And so I got up with her. We went outside and I went off to school and she would stay home, and then we'd come back and we'd always do like an activity with her in the evening. So she came to my football games. She went to like concerts, band concerts I performed in. She was literally like just at your side. She would go to the grocery store and everything. And unfortunately, they're not allowed on furniture. That's one of the big things. So it's kind of like I was always laying on the floor with her, doing something like that, just to get that connection. And it was just always so beautiful. There was moments that were hard, like all dogs, you're training a dog, but Dogs Inc. specifically gives you what you need to be able to train a wonderful dog. And twice a month, you would go to meetings with other dog raisers where you get to check in and be like, okay, this is how my dog's looking. Is she good? Like, how are we doing? And they would give you, constructive criticism. I'm like, okay, maybe train her like this. And there was always support for you. So you never felt like you were alone.
I guess taking a moment to reflect, what were, some moments from raising a dog? Like, what learning outcomes kind of did you get from that you can apply to when you were in high school or maybe now when you're in college?
I think she taught me a lot of emotional resilience, definitely a lot of patience. Giving back the dog is the hardest part, but knowing that she's going to live such a better life than you could ever provide, they love to work. And knowing that every time she got into her best, she was happy. It's like I knew she was okay, but it hurt still. Also, just being able to know that she was so special and I brought something to someone that not a lot of people can. She taught patience, love, um, how to be a good person, and definitely taught you a lot about inclusion. You would never think that you would get so much staring when you have a dog. You'd think everyone loved you, but that's not the case. So she definitely taught you a lot about a world that I never knew before.
When you say that she didn't like not everybody likes it when you have a dog and you got a lot of staring, what exactly do you mean by that?
I think a lot of people just don't understand, they're in training. So, of course, she's not going to be the perfect little dog all the time. And, sometimes she would sit on the floor and try to get off her harness or try to get off her infinity collar. And people would just kind of stare and think that, like, it was a bad dog, but that was just kind of like what we were working through. And so I think a lot of people didn't understand what training a dog took, and that when you're walking outside with this dog, it's not going to be perfect compared to when they are completely a guide dog. They are pretty perfect. So it was just hard for people to get like that stigma out of their head that it's a dog in training, but it still has a job to do.
They're just puppies.
Yeah, they're just
They are
puppies
just
at the end of the day.
What type of dog was Birdie, and do you know what she ended up choosing her career in?
Yes, so they are all labs. They actually recently took out Golden Retriever from their mix because Golden Retrievers were too playful. So they are all perfectly bred labs. And Birdie chose to be a guide dog for a lady in Pennsylvania who was actively losing her vision. So she picked the highest career they can choose there.
That's
So cute. That's so cute. I'm really glad that Birdie is off helping somebody that really needs it, and I hope they're having a great time together.
Yes.
So, being from Tampa, what is it like to give back to a community where you've grown up?
It's so special. I think one of the main things in my head is like when hurricanes hit, our community comes back like no other community. And I think everyone just rallies around each other and everyone serves each other. And so just seeing that in the hurricane setting, seeing that outside of the setting, I think Tampa is just so like closely knit in that students are trying to help and organizations are trying to help make Tampa the place to live. They want to make it the best place.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We have a special community here. We bounce back, but we're there for each other, and I feel like we're always together, right? Like you can call anybody and there's going to be something
For
for
sure.
each person. So you mentioned a lot about Dogs Inc., but have you gotten involved in any other organizations?
Yeah, so during my high school time, I was actively involved in Tunnels to Towers, an organization local here as well. I was always active with like 5K races and stuff like that. I tried to always volunteer with like the littler community service opportunities just because I felt like even though they're a little organization, they deserve just as much love as the big humanities societies do. So I was always like involved with like feeding Tampa, like the little in like Pasco County area where 5 or 6 people packed hundreds of bags of food. So I always like the little initiatives around here.
It sounds like you're very much a humanitarian, and especially since you're going into biology and health, looking towards your career, like how do you hope that your service experiences have helped you prepare yourself for your future?
I think they make you like a well-rounded student, and that's why I love the requirement of community service because they make you a person. You can't learn these opportunities anywhere else besides diving deep into it. And I think that with the community service and with learning from that, you access worlds that you never would have seen. I would have never seen a world where disabilities, like they didn't have accessibility still. We think they do, but they really don't. And without community support, without volunteer initiatives, people are not going to be able to get what they need in life. And so I think community service is really the heart of how communities need to run. And the Honors College and other organizations allow that to happen.
I resonate with that so much. That's something I always tell people is, you have to do something meaningful for community service, but you also have to do something uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because that's the only way you learn and the only way you can grow. So what is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned through your community service?
I think that I learned that there's a world in which nothing is perfect because even if you think you're helping people, the next day it could just fall apart. But knowing that that one day you helped a person, that one day you made a change, it's special enough to keep you going and to keep you coming back.
And I think I agree with that because that's what makes community service so special. I remember I was helping a patient one time and just all he said was thank you. And you would think, well, of course you're welcome. Like
Yeah.
my job is to help you. But they're not used to even getting that level of service that you're impacting a person on such a level that they don't even know how to repay that, how grateful they feel to you. And I think that's so special, and I'm so glad you found that.
So, Alexa, finally, for other honor students who maybe want to get involved in volunteering, but they're not sure where to start, what advice would you give them for finding a service that feels meaningful to them?
Like I said before, I think start small because the initiatives that are smaller can end up getting bigger, but also you get to help on a smaller level. So I say, yeah, go volunteer at the Humane Society. Absolutely, it's a great cause. But find something that you can like do for life if you want to. If you want to volunteer for life with that organization, you want to grow with them, find your passion and start small. It's okay if you're only getting, 1 hour community service because you're going to keep building, you're going to keep wanting to come back. Don't just do community service to tick off a box. Do it because you're passionate about it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And because when you're passionate about it, it doesn't even feel like you're working.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the saying, what is it? It's like, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I feel like that applies to like even in a career past, volunteering and community service, picking a job that you feel like is giving back in some way. Maybe not, it's not distinct like in a health career necessarily, but there are plenty of things that you can do that give back.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, Alexa. It was great having you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're back in the studio. What did you think, Fabi?
I absolutely love the podcast, Reva. Honestly, I wish we had a dog in here.
I agree.
But that's for next time. I was really surprised by the whole process. I had no idea how much work goes into raising a service dog. I had no idea that they had a kindergarten, that they have a college, that they pick their career. It's really great work that they're doing, and I'm glad that so many people get help.
I agree with that. And I also think it's such a big commitment to raise a dog and then basically have to send them away to go live with someone else or impact another family.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But if you want to keep up with this mini series and keep up with other service opportunities within the Honors College and beyond, Don't forget to check out the Honor Roll newsletter or our website at usf.edu/honors for upcoming events, updates, and news.
The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genschaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by USF students Sandra Napolitano and Vama Shah. Thank you all so much for listening, and please do not forget to rate and review our podcast as we really appreciate your feedback. Please join us next week to hear more honor stories as we talk to more members of the Judy Genschaft Honors College.